welcome to VOP Business. I am Kayla Abraham. With less than a week left to the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's 8-year tenure, VOP Business will be continuing its series on how he has fared in managing the economy and whether life is better and easier for Nigerians today than it was in 2015 when he was sworn into office. Our focus today is the stock market. The inability of the Nigerian capital markets to contribute significantly to capital formation under President Muhammadu Buhari in the past 8 years is in the focus as the administration comes to an end. Just last year, the federal government borrowed 2.94 trillion naira through the bond market to finance the 2022 budget deficit. This represented an increase of 8.13% over 2.72 trillion naira borrowed to finance the budget deficit between January and November of 2021. Additionally, the stakeholders argued that the socio-economic situation in Nigeria in the past 8 years of his administration impacted negatively on the capital market. According to them, despite the promises to improve the capital market, operators and investors are living in regret due to the consequences of failed promises of the administration. The enthusiasm that greeted Buhari's victory in 2015 had since faded as investors were unable to identify any value addition to the capital markets by his government. Although, when Buhari took office in 2015, market capitalization was 16.88 trillion naira, equates to 68% bonds, while others were 32%. By May 2023, the capitalization had risen to 52.215 trillion naira, while the number of listed securities stood at 325. However, notwithstanding this increase, the ratio of equities market capitalization to gross domestic product remains paltry at about 12.5%, indicating that the capital market is not strongly integrated with the economy. Indeed, the nation's stock exchange ranked behind its peers in terms of its contribution to GDP. The size of the capital market constrains its roles in economic development compared to South Africa, with over $1 trillion in market capitalization, representing over 200% of the country's GDP. Further assessments showed that foreign investors' confidence in the market had continued to wane during the 8 years of President Buhari's leadership. Preparatory to its full deployment in a few days' time, the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency (NAMA) has successfully conducted the site acceptance test for its newly installed surface movement radar and ground control systems in Abuja and Lagos airports to enable air traffic controllers to monitor aircraft and vehicular movements during low visibility or nighttime. Speaking while conducting the site acceptance test of the radar equipment in Abuja, Matthew Lawrence Pajok stated, the former acting managing director of NAMA, that in furtherance to its quest to enhance the safety and efficiency of flight operations in Nigeria, the agency had embarked on the procurement of surface movement radar due to its capability for detection, monitoring, and control of aircraft and vehicles on the ground for the purpose of preventing collisions between aircraft and between aircraft and vehicles, as well as between aircraft and obstacles on the ground. Pajok said the surface movement radar, which is a primary radar, would provide surveillance for aircraft and vehicles on the road for the air traffic controller rather than physically seeing or looking out on the runway, the apron, taxiway, or parking gate. Speaking further, the NAMA MD said the surface movement radar would greatly enhance safety as it would help prevent runway excursions, and confusion. The foreign exchange turnover of Naira against the US dollar on the investor and exporters window fell by 47.8% in April. This was disclosed in the monthly report of activities on the FMDQ, which was released on Tuesday. The FMDQ said that the spot foreign exchange market turnover was 2.18 trillion in April 2023, representing a MOM decrease of 47.8% from the turnover recorded in March 2023. It was also revealed that the naira depreciated against the US dollar, with the spot exchange rate increasing by 0.34% to close at an average of 463.9 naira in April 2023 from 461.50 naira per dollar recorded in March 2023. Also, further exchange rate volatility increased marginally in April 2023 as the naira traded within an exchange rate range of 462 naira per dollar to 464 naira per dollar compared to 461 naira per dollar to 462 naira per dollar recorded in March 2023. Meanwhile, the Nigerian currency traded at 463.50 naira per dollar on Monday at the I&E window, signaling a 50 kobo dip compared to its previous trading rate of 463 naira. The daily turnover for Monday stood at $106.84 million, with the exchange rate hitting an intraday trading high of 467 naira and low of 460 naira. At the official market, the naira strengthened by 0.01% to close at 461.31 naira per dollar on Monday. The naira at the parallel market, however, closed flat at 765 naira per dollar. In a research note, an analyst at South Africa-based lender Absa Group projected that the naira was going to be devalued by 15% in the coming weeks. The World Bank in April advised the federal government to unify the nation's multiple exchange rate windows and carry out some other reforms to strengthen the economy and restore macroeconomic stability. The micro-poverty outlook for Nigeria partly read, macroeconomic stability has weakened amidst declining oil production, costly fuel subsidies, exchange rate distortion, and monetization of fiscal deficit. President Muhammadu Buhari has flagged off the oil drilling campaign in Wadi B Prospect, Chad Basin Tuba Community, Jere Local Government Area, Borno State on Tuesday. He said the flag-off had signaled the formal resumption of physical activities for the exploration of crude oil and gas in the Chad Basin area. Buhari, who flagged off the drilling campaign virtually, said he was aware that crude oil and gas exploration activities had been ongoing in the Chad Basin since 1976, as well as the discovery of some commercial gas at Wadi 1 well in 1985. The president noted that the consequential effect of the likely positive outcome of the Chad Basin exploration campaign was in increasing the nation's crude oil and gas reserves and production, enhancing national energy security, and ensuring greater prosperity for Nigerians. Buhari said he was looking forward to a successful drilling campaign in the Chad Basin through the collaborative efforts of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, host communities, state, and other partners. On his part, the Group Chief Executive Officer NNPCL Mele Kyari said the flag-off campaign entailed the remobilization of a drilling rig to the Chad Basin for the first time since the 1980s, efforts underscored. Kyari said the renewed drilling campaign had a higher geological chance of making commercial discoveries of hydrocarbons, adding that the oil company was equipped with state-of-the-art integrated geophysical datasets. The oil firm stated the prospect leads were identified from interpreted seismic data and non-seismic, and that the de-risking of identified leads were done via surface geochemistry. It's carried out a petroleum system re-evaluation aimed at de-risking source and maturity, stressing that security risk evaluation was done to recommend the best way of re-entering between 2019 to 2022. The NNPCL stated that it completed a security risk assessment for Chad Basin re-entry and carried out a security awareness workshop for the re-entry. The Central Bank of Nigeria has revoked the licenses of 179 microfinance banks in the country, as well as 4 primary mortgage banks and 3 finance companies. This was disclosed in the official Gazette of the federal government, which was published on the website of the CBN on Tuesday. The Gazette said that the licenses of the financial institution were revoked because they ceased to carry on in Nigeria the type of business for which their licenses were issued for a continuous period of 6 months, failed to fulfill or comply with the conditions subject to which their licenses were granted, or failed to comply with the obligations imposed upon them by the Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with the provisions of Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020, Act No. 5. The CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele revoked the licenses and the exercise of the powers conferred on the Central Bank of Nigeria under Section 12 of BOFIA 2020 Act No. 5. Finance companies whose licenses were revoked include HHL Invest and Trust Limited, TFS Finance Limited and Treasures and Trust Limited, while the 4 primary mortgage banks whose licenses were revoked were Resort Savings and Loans, Safe Trust Mortgage Bank, Adamawa Savings and Loans, and Kogi Savings and Loans. Meanwhile, the licenses of another set of 47 microfinance banks were also revoked by the CBN, which brings the total of affected microfinance banks to 179. The official gazette for the last batch stated that the banks have either remained inactive, insolvent, failed to render returns, closed shops, or ceased to carry on the type of banking business for which they were licensed for more than 6 months in contravention of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020 and the revised regulatory and supervisory guidelines for microfinance banks in Nigeria. And that is a wrap on VOP Business. I am Kayla Abraham. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Voice of the People TV and follow all our social media platforms at VOP TV Live. Thanks for watching.